Good morning. Hey Diana. Hey Val. Hey JMB. Hey Ola. How is everyone doing? Hey Steve. Hope you're all well. Hey BL. Good morning. Morning Diana. Give it a couple of minutes before we get started. I'm doing very well this afternoon for me. Yeah, I'm doing very well. Been working on a couple of other things. Not many trades, or not any trade so far. Last night was a bit on and off. I ended up the day actually a little bit up. Could have been a lot better, but ended the day a little bit higher. What about you, Bell? Hey, Matt Nick. I think it's Matt Nick. Good morning. How are you doing? Hope the sound and the video is all going well. Seems to be streaming okay. Hey, Spiros. I'm doing well. How about you? Couple more minutes and we shall get started. Um, we saw a lot of volatility last night, so it's a bit undecided. So across the board, a lot of prices right in the middle, a little bit undecided. I think it might. Um, we need to go through and discuss some possible directions where prices could head towards. I think this morning, yesterday took 3 trades, got them all very good. Nice one, Bell. Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of feedback from you guys. I'm really glad that this is helping a lot of you guys. So I'm very happy about that. And that's why I do this, right? That's why I enjoy doing this so much. It's just to help you guys out from all around the world. We have to catch up, though. We have to catch up in person. We catch up every day, but we have to catch up in person. Thanks for that, Diana. Good, good, Spiros. Hey, Nick, how you doing? One more minute and we shall get started. I have realized that the sessions are getting a little bit shorter. I used to go slightly over an hour. Right now, I'm going slightly under an hour. Don't know whether it's because I'm speaking a lot faster or just not super interesting in the markets at this couple of days. Alrighty, check. Okay, let's get started. All right, let's get started. So again, thank you all for joining me on this daily market analysis. Today is the 1st of June. 1st of June, right? So first day of the month. I think BL might say that he's gonna take it a little bit easy, but we'll see how it goes. So during this daily market analysis, what we do is we look at the fundamentals, we look at where any news has been released, a review of the news, look into what could happen as well. So we look at the fundamentals, we look at the technicals in terms of where price is, where it could head towards. Putting that together, we look for some possible trade setups. All right. What I tend to do is to look into the major currency pairs and gold. So if you do have any questions about any other particular pairs, do let me know. Do put it into the chat and let me know. I'll be happy to share with you my points of view. Might not be something that I trade a lot of or I trade at all, but a chart is a chart. Price movement is price movement. I'll share with you my opinions of where I think it could head towards. Okay. With that said, if you're new to this session, do drop a message, say hi. We are streaming on Twitch, we are on YouTube, we're on some other platforms, on TradingView as well. So if you are watching, if you're new to the session, drop a message, say hi, let me know where are you joining us from. Always want to find out. Okay, and if you have any questions at any point in time, put it into the chat, let me know. With that said, quick disclaimer, any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. And please remember that your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Okay, why objectives and financial situation and needs is really, we were just talking about this in the office, where sometimes if you come to having the wrong mindset, thinking that you need to make a lot more, you're motivated by the profits, by the dollar figure, then you might end up rushing into trades. You might end up taking setups which are not ideal, right? Not the best setups. So I think, quick shout out that Val is very good at really sticking to the discipline, sticking to looking for that good setup. So really put that as the forefront of your trading journey. Think about looking for that good setup. Think about looking for that directional bias before you jump into a trade. Don't be so driven by, just that percentage returns or that dollar return. That's the fastest way to lead you to getting into bad trades. And also, or especially in terms of your trade sizing. I've seen just today I was looking through a couple of other platforms, and people were sharing about how they've made $3,000 to 90,000 in a month or something like that. And they showed screenshots and they were like on 3,000 entering at 1.5 standard lots, multiple trades at 1.5 standard lots. So it's just like over leveraged, oversized. You do get very good returns on that, but one or two bad trades and it could wipe you out as well. Okay, so what we want to advocate is really that consistent approach, a sustainable approach, month on month. If you're making a couple of percentage points month to month, I think accumulated over a year, that's going to be a very good return, right? Think about it as a long-term return rather than trying to make that 100% in a month. Is that possible? Yes, it is. I've done 100% in a day before, but that was hard work, very, very hard work. It's definitely easier or more sustainable to look for a consistent return, a good consistent return month to month. Okay, so just wanted to digress that a little bit to try and, as we head into June and into the other half of the year, is really to try and remind everyone, stay consistent. Don't try to deviate too much or try to think that you want to hit that whatever percentage points by whatever time frame or by the end of the year. Okay. Good morning, Goju. How are you doing? And hi, Robbie. Good to have you here. So with that said, let's keep going on. Through yesterday, since we spoke yesterday, German preliminary CPI month to month was released lower than expected, was 0.4%, expected 0.2, was released at a minus 0.1. So that was a little bit lower, and that's actually German preliminary CPI that shows inflation growth slowing down. So that's technically one of the factors that's going to contribute to the ECB's decision of whether they're going to continue raising rates or not, or slow down on further rates. There were a lot of comments from ECB members and FOMC members last night. We did have the Canadian GDP month-to-month release was 0.1% expected, minus 0.1, and it came out at 0%. With that, remember I was sharing with you guys in the trading community, it came up to this resistance of 1.3645, and there was that whole discussion during yesterday's session, and also during in the trading community, where we're saying, okay, at that point, yes, we were looking for it to break higher, to possibly trade up, but we also saw several occasions where it hit that resistance and shot straight back down. So that's what happened exactly last night with that news. Right before the news, it started turning down. That news as well, driving prices significantly lower, back down to that 1.35, almost 1.356, almost 1.3560 level. Okay, so that was what happened on the US CAD. Following on from that, we had the JOLTS jobs openings for the US. It was 9.59, got revised up to 9.75, and it was released at 10.10 million jobs openings. So that's going to be a little bit positive. That's going to show you that there are more jobs openings, some resilience into the US employment sector. But at 10 p.m., you can see on the dollar index, this was at 10 p.m. here. We saw the dollar push up, back up, and then after that hit about 104, almost 104.70 before retracing strongly back down, right? Before retracing strongly back down. So why did it retrace? It was really because of a lot of the news, a lot of the comments. First of all, I'm going to have to scroll through a little bit because all back yesterday. That one line, right, 13 hours ago, the Fed from Fed member Harker, who said the Fed doesn't have to hike at every meeting. BL was sharing as well. I think it was BL that was sharing in the community, where the likelihood of a rate hike in June has dropped to about 20% or 20 point something percent. So the likelihood of a next rate hike significantly lower. Also because, well, one is because of that comment, and also the other comment that where was it? The other comment, there was a comment that a tightening is going to can't find it now. Find that line. There you go. Higher rates could exacerbate banking stress, right? So that's another point that goes, hey, maybe we shouldn't stress out the banking sector, or they seem to have averted from the banking crisis. So higher rates could exacerbate the banking stress. Those two combined, so banking stress plus it doesn't have to hike at every meeting, added to that effect where we saw the dollar index swing back down, right? Swing back down from 104, almost 104.70 down to this morning's low at 104.13. Right, recovered a little bit, but it does look like it's failing to sustain. The move to the upside might turn back down again. So that was the major news. And then the last major news was that the US House has votes to pass the debt limit deal. as the votes to pass the deal to avert a default. And also, I think they were going to suspend that ceiling until 2025. So that's again another big move where, we're not going to be, we're unlikely to be facing this situation again or in the near future where the US is coming close to its debt ceiling and then we're going to have the risk of a default and, more uncertainty in the markets. So a lot of news, a lot of unscheduled news, just comments and releases. That's why we saw a lot of volatility across the board, firstly on the dollar index and then right across other currency pairs. That was all yesterday. That was all yesterday. Now looking at what could happen for today, we had a whole bunch of news. We had a Caixin manufacturing PMI numbers for the Chinese. It was a 49.5. It got released at a 50.9. So it's in that expansionary phase. Because of that, we actually saw the Aussie dollar push to the upside early this morning. Okay, and then following on from that, we do have PMI numbers for the UK to be released at 4:30. PMI numbers for the Eurozone to be released at 4. At this point, I think these are all going to be slight blips in the overall trend. I don't think it's going to change prices too much. The thing to watch out for here will be the CPI flash estimate year on year for the Eurozone. If it does go from that 7 to that 6.3%, then we're possibly likely to see some movements on the euro dollar. I'll share with you more about that in detail as we look into the charts later on. Okay, and actually I do see a couple of, as we're talking, I do see a couple of opportunities that we could be coming up on very quickly. Then also later tonight, 8:15 GMT plus 8, we do have the ADP non-farm employment change number to be released. Was a 296K, expected 173, right? Expected 173. So that's going to be a bit, again, every first week of the month, we have that same line that the ADP non-farm employment change number is not an indicator of the non-farm number tomorrow, but it is going to have a bit of an indication to show you what we could be looking at. Okay, so that's going to have some movement on the dollar index. Manufacturing PMI not going to change prices too much, and then it's through to tomorrow with the non-farm employment change numbers. Again, you are looking at it going from 253 to 193. Very similar to the ADP non-farm number from 296 to 173. Okay, so it is looking like, despite the jerk, the JOLTS yesterday, it is looking like we might see possibly a little bit of a slowdown on the employment front. So I'm a little bit surprised on that conflicting data, but I think we'll get a better idea of this after the ADP number and then leading up into the non-farm number for tomorrow evening, GMT plus 8. Okay, so that is a brief recap and a projection of the news ahead. Any questions so far? Is it all good? Let me know. Good morning, Emlita. How you doing? Hey, Farooq, how you doing? Okay, so if that's all good, then we're looking at the dollar index. Okay, looking at the dollar index, I was just saying, hey, Christina, how you doing? I was just saying that it looked like it was pushing to the downside, but it is now pushing back up again. Let's change this first. It is the 1st of June. Where has the time been? All right. So now I'm looking at this, and I've been shifting this trend line up and down, and it still keeps working, right? We are still seeing that upward trend line supported. So I do see this pushing higher. In fact, if I put in the 200, you can see that it is also pushing it up. I want to try and see this. Let's try something. 200. I'm always interested in this. It looks like the 50 is just sitting right there. 200. If it does trade up, we could see it come cross back down. So that's one of the things I was looking at. Could we see that death cross back down again? I don't think there was any major news. So M Leader is asking, was there any news? Why did the dollar index shoot up? I don't think it was the news. I think it's more like markets coming back into waking up. So we're seeing that continuation. So I do see this trending up, but it does look like it's losing some strength. Right? Yesterday we were saying that it's going to consolidate along this level before pushing up. Big fluctuations there. Didn't get as high as we expected. So take that away for now. At 104.37, I would think that we're going to see the dollar index trade up naturally, continue trading up. But I think that we could see it find a little bit of a top along this 104.80. I don't think we're going to see massive upside on the dollar index, or rather, it might be unlikely we'll see massive upside on the dollar index. So for now, I think that we could see it trade up to yesterday's high, maybe a little bit higher, so about max of 104.80. I think that at that point might be into tomorrow, where we see some possibly disappointing numbers on the non-farm, and then we'll see that trade back down. Okay, so for today, I still do think that we could see it continue uptrend to 104, 104.70 and 104.80. I think it'll be within that range. Might find a bit of a top there before turning back down, right? And also just looking at this, if it does push up, you might see the 200 moving average, which is this one, trading up a little bit. 50 might cross over, might signal that death cross to the downside. But it's just something else to add on. I don't like thinking of a big reversal unless there is a supporting fundamental reason behind it as well. Okay, so that's the view for the dollar index. Then onto the Kiwi, right? And it's going to look a lot like I'm going to be copying. It looks like I'll be copying everything from right across, because the Kiwi did not trigger, as much as it shows here. It did not trigger because it did not close below the 0.9585 level. So with that, I do think that it is trading down now because of that dollar strength. I will be still looking for the Kiwi dollar to trade down towards that 5935 support level. It's coming very close. I think this will be a good setup for that downside potential for the Kiwi dollar. Okay, and also because there's no big news, so I like this move down. So I'll keep to that. In fact, I would say that, okay, that's fair. I would keep to that. Okay, so what I was thinking, why I was hesitating a little bit, is because I was just considering whether we could see it trade lower than this 5935 level. But I think that might be a little bit of a stretch. I think that while it might be possible, it would be a little bit of a stretch for that big downward move. So look for that 50 first. If it does go down and test this 5935 level, you could look for a continuation to the downside. Okay, makes sense. So Kiwi dollar still stays the same. I'm actually checking my MT4 as well because I do have a couple of trades running. Okay, so what I do have running right now is the Aussie dollar. So I did actually make a little bit on the Aussie as it came down. I think I made about less than 20, about 15 pips came down. It was like that on the M15 time frame, if I'm not wrong. That move there. So I sold it down and started bouncing around this level. So that one there, I think just about there. It was way outside, so about 13 to 15 pips, and I closed out. Also, Bollinger, it rebounded strongly after that. Okay, so I'm actually in the Aussie right now. I sold as it formed that top. Okay, so as it formed that top, I actually sold it down right now. So that was my trade here like that. Okay, so I was coming close to 20. I do have about that point there. So this was, yeah, about almost at 30 pip. I have a 30 pip down. Right now, what I've just done is I've put that to break even already, right? Just because I don't want to pay attention to it while doing this session. So now at this point, what I would suggest for you will be to wait, right? You wouldn't want to jump in now. I would say wait for the candle to close. I do think that we could see further downside on the Aussie. So about, I like it that it's breaking 6.5 again. So 6.490, again a 20 pip or even a 30 pip stop loss. Back down, you could go 30 to 30, 1:1, or you could go down to that 45 pip, take profit to the downside. Okay, so that would be a move that you could look out for on the Aussie dollar. I think that on the close of this candle would be a good trade for the downside. If it does stay this way, or if it does trade a little bit lower, could be a good trade to the downside, and it's no threat on the Bollinger as well. So 6.490, 30 maximum of 30 pip stop loss, a 45 pip take profit. I do think that if we see a big push, we could see it trade lower as well. So very similar to this, 6.490, 20, 30 pips to 45, right? Could be lower if momentum is strong, right? Still looking for that downward push. So with this possibly climbing up, pushing, even if it does push back to 104.70, then we could see the Aussie dollar come down at least to 6.464. But I think that with the momentum, we could see it push lower again. All good so far. Now, next up, the US yen. Like I was telling you right at the start, a lot of our trades did not get triggered yesterday, but it just seems like we were just possibly one day ahead of time. We were looking for it to break up above 104, 140.10 to trade up, looking for that dollar strength. I would still drag this right across 140.10, look for it to trade up to that upside. I can tell you that yesterday, as this candle was happening, I was just sitting there going, could it happen? Could it happen? Can I possibly get into that trade? You guys know I love trading the US yen. So I was highly excited as it broke to the upside, but the next moment it came straight back down below my support, now resistance level. So I just gave up on it, didn't bother looking at it after that. came up, tested, broke down, totally not interested anymore. Right now, back into it again. If it does trade up, then I would say 140.10, 30 pip stop loss, 75 pip take profit to the upside. So we have that still maintain. I wouldn't say above, I would say by 140.10. Stop loss 30, take profit 75. Okay. It did. It did. Um, it did, Dan. Well, I don't know what to say on your nickname, but yeah, it did play with the feelings. Like I was sitting there going, yes, it just needs to close above, just needs to close above. And then the next moment it retraced straight back down. I go, okay, fine. I sat there watching, but didn't do anything. So it does happen. It does happen, and it's not unusual. Just something to deal with as we look at the charts. Then next up, the pound dollar. Okay, then the pound dollar. Okay, so pound dollar, I was actually, so this is another one that I had selling down. I had a 30 pip stop. So I was looking at this same thing, you know, tested up, failed, started trading down, and then it's just bounced back up over the hour, turned back down. I actually just closed out the trade um, just right now because, you know, although I think it's going to go down, I'm just going to, you know, let it run as it goes. I do have my Aussie and a couple of other trades running as well. So just got off the pound dollar despite thinking and believing that it's going to continue going down, right? I'm just limiting the exposure. So you can see why I was looking to sell on the pound dollar, just the way it reacted 24th of May, 30th of May, and then 1st of June tested that 1.2450 price area before trading down. Okay, so that didn't happen. At this point, I would say that, like I was telling you, I think that it's going to trade down to the support of 1.2353. But possibly another reason why is possibly might retrace back up. Bollinger is fine, right? Might retrace back up to, I think, to about that point again. 1.2424, 1.2425. A little bit. Okay, retrace a little bit by the close of the hour. You could be looking to sell. So I'm looking for it to retrace to, or if it doesn't retrace, let's look at this. So it's broken at 23. It's coming to 38. I'm regretting closing off the trade. At this point, maybe what you could be looking for on our close, 1.2410. Take profit will be down to about 55 pips. Stop loss, I would like it at 40, but I think 40 is a little bit too big. You could put it above that previous high, about 30 pips, possibly size down on this. We're going to see significant volatility on the pound dollar. Okay, so it is happening. 1.2410, 55 pip take, 30 pip stop. So 1.2410, stop loss 30, take profit 55. Okay. Double check on some trades. All running well. Okay, Aussie is running very well. So the Aussie is still trading down. You know, look, just needs to hold there, or needs to continue. For me, needs to continue down, continue trading down. For you guys, I hope it holds there so that you can get into an entry. But I'm still generally looking for the Aussie dollar to trade down to that support level. Okay, if you guys do get into any trades, please remember, let me know. I'll be happy to. I just want to know that you guys are making money, making good trades. So do let me know. Always keen to find out. Then onto the euro dollar. So someone in the trading community, again, the link is there for you guys to join the trading community. Someone in the trading community was asking about the euro dollar. Same thing, dollar strength is going to push the euro dollar down. This was a trade that I did get stopped out on last night. 30 pip stop loss on that. Wasn't watching at that point. Hit, and then it just went straight back down again. So very annoyed at that. Okay, but life still goes on. It is still just one of the trades that we get in of the many trades. It is now still pushing down, very similar to the pound, very similar to the Aussie. Looking for that to trade down. Forming a not a very nice, but a bit of a double top there. Looking for this to push down towards that bottom. M leader got into the pound yen and pound dollar. Very good. Pound dollar break even. Pound yen too volatile, less than 5 pips. Yeah, pound yen is going to be affected by the way the US yen is moving, pushing to the upside. So there's a bit of that conflict happening there. In situations like this, I really do prefer the pound dollar rather than pound yen. And Hyder got into the Aussie. So limit just got hit. Very good. Very nice. Good to see. And Steve is in the US CAD. Fantastic. We'll get to the US CAD shortly. I digressed a little bit because I wanted to see how the euro dollar is going to develop. At the way it's moving, it is right in the middle. So it's not an H1 kind of trade that you might be looking at. It might be a smaller time frame kind of trade. But we are looking for this maybe 1.0665 to trade down that 30 pips to the downside. Stop loss would be 30 pips, a 1:1 to the downside on the euro dollar. Okay, that would be an H1 kind of setup. It's not perfect because it's right in the middle. But if you did look at it on the, for example, the M15, then I would say that M15 you could get in at about, it's about the same. It's about the same. I think it's the same, similar view, but it might be something that you will have to closely manage, a little bit more short term on the short term kind of trading on the euro dollar. It's still looking for that downside on the euro dollar, but possibly not a set and forget kind of setup. Ola's on the pound dollar as well, very nice. Pound dollar does look very good, retracing a little bit, right? But I do think that we're going to see that downside move. So let's get back to it. Euro dollar 1.0665, 30 pip, 30 pip. 1.0665, 30 to 30. You can see now, with the recent choppiness in the markets, if you compare to all the other, even last month analysis I did, last month I think it was always a 30 pip stop and maybe 100 something pip take. The take profit seems to have narrowed down quite a bit, also because a lot of the prices are hitting multi-level lows or multi-period lows. So it's just something I want to be extra careful on. The euro dollar is doing very nicely to the downside. Then the Swiss US Swiss franc was saying that it's going to consolidate along this range. Fortunately, it's not one of the pairs that I trade much, because if I did get into that trade there, it would have gone up a little bit, came down, hit my stop loss. I'll be doubly frustrated. I do focus on the euro dollar more, so that's one of the reasons why I don't look at the Swiss franc too much. but it is one of the major pairs. So we did see it fluctuate, bounce around this 0.9120 level, right? Big spike up before coming back down. Now still below this resistance level. With the way the dollar index is moving, with the way the dollar index is pushing to the upside, I'm slightly intrigued, possibly lack of a better word, intrigued on why the US Swiss franc has not shown that upside push. Right? It's typically driven by the dollar index, volatility of the dollar index, so it should be pushing up. But looking at the price action, showing some resistance of that downside. So what you could be looking for here would be a continuation of the up 0.9125. I think that I wouldn't go for 20 pips. Stop loss maybe 15, maximum 20 pips. Very generous at 20 pips. And then the upside, I would say your first position point will be at 20. So you're looking at 1:1 first. And then after that, you could be looking for another move up. I would say that point, okay, let's see. Let's do a check. This move, nope. Okay. No, I don't like this. So I think that could be looking at it going to halfway of this, or halfway of that. You're looking at that move almost about 40 pips. I would say 20 pips or 1:1. And then if it does continue up, then we could see even 40 pips to the upside there on the US Swiss franc. Right? So US Swiss would be 0.9125. Stop loss 20 pips, take profit 40 pips, make a decision in the middle. Okay, 9125. Stop loss 20, take profit 40. I would say make a decision at the middle, is 20 pips. Okay. Then the US CAD. Oh, look, US Swiss franc is now finally showing that correlation between with the dollar index. So I think that in the next 15 minutes, if it does push up, we might see this as a possible trade to the upside. Then, right after I said that, it retraced back down. Then US CAD. So Steve is in the US CAD. Steve, what did you do? Did you buy? I hope you bought because it's bouncing back up. Did you buy or did you sell at some point thinking it's going to go down? Let me know. Our trade did not trigger, so I'll take that away. Steve on the US CAD. What did you do? What did you do? Let me know. In the meantime, I'm just going to be looking at some analysis first. Yes, went long. Very good. Okay, so we did have our diagonal trend line up there like that. Adjusted it now to this way. It still works because we see it testing, came close, and now bouncing off this level. We do have a confluence of levels where I found 1.3568 and also that trend line bouncing back up. I do see this going up. Steve, good trade, possibly a very good trade there. For those of us who did not get into the trade, next 15 minutes, our close. If it does get to about 1.3590. Stop loss 30 pips. Take profit 50. You could try for 60, but I think 55 would be reasonable for that upside potential. I do want to see it come back and test that resistance level again. Okay, so relatively straightforward there on the US CAD. 1.3590, stop loss 30, take profit 55. US CAD 1.363590, 3590, stop loss 30, take profit could be at about a 55 to the upside. Good. Hey, and guys, remember, if you haven't already, do help me out. Click that like button on YouTube. Click that little rocket ship button on TradingView. Click subscribe as well. Click follow on TradingView. Just click everything. Find any button and just click. Apart from the little red cross button where it makes you quit off the stream. Right? Click everything, and the algorithm will find its way to get more people on this stream. Okay, with that, then I just make stuff up. You guys know. With that, the gold, we were looking for it to come down towards 1950 before pushing up. It did not do that. It came down to 1954, right? And then bounced back up. So kind of the idea, but did not drop as much as we thought. Right now, look at it, breaking down, breaking its neck to the downside because the dollar index is pushing up. That inverse relationship, right? So it push dollar index is pushing up. Yeah, Emily, click it once. If you de-rocket it, then rocket it back up again. All right. So now looking at this, anticipating the dollar index to continue pushing higher, what I would say is that I would be looking for the sell side below this point. So below 1951.50, I'm looking for the downside potential, driven mostly because of that dollar index strength, the reversal on the gold, breaking out of that consolidation. Why 1951 dot, well, why below 1952 is really because of that point. It's really because of that point there. So it just need to break below that point before I'll be looking for that downside move on gold. Okay, so relatively straightforward. This one, gold, will be looking to sell below 1952 to support of 1936, 1935. Go. Okay, so those are the view of the major pairs. Any questions, do let me know. And also, if you haven't already, do join the Discord channel where we can take our discussions beyond this session. Looking at a pound yen, we were just talking about this with M Leader just then. So pound yen did test this level, did push up as somewhat expected, right? Did move before the yen, so that moved very nicely. Went up, testing this level. What I would love to see, okay, you can see this, and this, right? A nice head and shoulders at that 170, almost 174 resistance level, right? Nice head and shoulders. Only problem about this is that there was a little bit of this area here where it makes it not a perfect setup, right? It's not a perfect head and shoulder. Typically you want this to happen quite quickly so that you would have a neckline at about that point where it breaks, then you would sell down massively. But with the way it is, the neckline is a little bit too low. I would say that it's not not a textbook head and shoulder pattern. But looking at the way the pound dollar is trading down, 10 minutes, this could look like a good trade. The US yen pushing up, it looks like all our trades might play out quite nicely, fingers crossed. Think that we could see this trade down. So what you could even be looking for on the pound yen, our close around this level of 173.65, stop loss maybe about 40. I tend to like a little bit of a wider stop on the pound yen just because it's super volatile. So about 40 pips, take profit, go down to about 80 pips. You're still looking at a 1:2 risk reward ratio to the downside on the pound yen. Make sense? Make sense? So that's something interesting there. Looking like it's going to develop nicely together with the euro yen. So euro yen, when we spoke about this on Tuesday, did play out very nicely to the downside. Insightful views, I just went through gold. I'll do a recap again for you if you need. Euro yen bouncing off that support 149.22 right now. The euro dollar is showing that downside potential, so I'm thinking that it could reverse, could trade back down, but I think that because it is right in the middle of that support and resistance level, I would probably not focus on the euro yen too much. I would probably look at the pound yen more. It does look like it's going to go down. It does look like it's going to go down, but if you were looking to sell, it's just not forming that strength to the downside as I would like. So 149.14, take profits only 50 pips. Your stop loss would be, yeah, stop loss would be a bit variable. It could be anywhere in this range. So again, this might be a managed, a very closely managed trade, something that you wouldn't want to set and forget. Although I do think that this point here, we're likely to see it go down towards a support of 148.60. You're most welcome there, Diana. Okay, then gold again pushing to the downside for insightful views. You know, gold, I'm looking at it breaking below 1952. Then I'll be looking for that downside opportunity towards the 1936 or 1935 support. All right, so ultimately, guys, we are looking at Kiwi dollar forming up, possibly forming up a bit nicely. Looks like it's a bit slowing down, but doing well there. Aussie should be in the next 7 minutes. You could trigger that trade. Please do your own due diligence. Right, as quickly as I said that, I said please do your own due diligence. US yen getting there, not ready yet. Pound dollar, I would love, just because I closed out a little bit early, I would love for this to sit around this level, close of the hour. Like that, I might sell this down. Euro dollar selling down, could sit along this level for the next 6 minutes. We could sell it down. Squeezy sitting right across. I'm not interested in this. Should be going up, but I'm not sure why it's just sitting there. The CAD for Steve, because Steve is on the trade already. I would love to see this push all the way back up for that big take profit for Steve. With all that said, please remember, trade well, trade safe. If you do get into any trades, put it into the Discord channel. I want to know. If you have any other questions or possible trade setups, put it into the Discord channel as well. Share it with everyone. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care now. Bye-bye.